collective creating results that nobody wants, climate change, poverty, stress, destruction of communities, nature, life, and the foundation of our social, economical, ecological, and spiritual well-being. This time calls for a new consciousness and a new collective leadership capacity to meet challenges in a more conscious, intentional, and strategic way. The development of such a capacity would allow us to create a future of greater possibilities for the children of our children. And this is done by Professor Otto Scharmer of the MIT. And you know the MIT, Massachusetts Institute, I mean, it's not one of the lowest institutes, it's the #1 university in the world, right? This is Peru. I show you the demographic situation of Peru today, yesterday, and tomorrow. This is between 1990 and 2050. And look at the birth rate of on the 1,000 people. What you can see downstairs is that it's diminishing. Why? Because we are getting more rich. We have a generation who is working more and more, buying cars, buying new apartments, but the number of children is diminishing. In 1990, we still had about 2.5 children, and it's going down underneath 2. And you need more than 2 children to reproduce your total community, which is not the case at this moment. So it means that this is the pyramid of our people in 1990, and this will be the situation in 2050. It will be the situation in 2050 because you cannot make children today or tomorrow 18 years old. It takes 18 years. So one generation will take 25 years to reproduce itself. So we're going to have the need of external labor force coming into our country. Don't forget that. We in Europe, we are facing with an immigration from Syria, from the wars over there. We have an immigration from people from Venezuela escaping from Maduro. They are coming in our country. Not only poor people, but also people with children and very highly educated people. We have to treat them well. Don't be a racist. It will not help. Don't push them back, because we will need them in the future, because this will be the situation by 2050. And I think our leaders have to understand that we have to change this kind of thinking, because we are too much in a kind of, I call it machismo. We have machos in a lot of companies who are not treating our people very well, the workforce. If I compare Latin America with Europe, with the Americas, and with India and China, we have a problem in our labor, the way we treat our people in our companies. And that's going to be very important. Everybody was there. I was there at this manifestation. Ni una más. Yeah? Or menos. Menos. Yeah? You know this leader? Yes? He just met another leader, and I think it's also a kind of small dictator at this moment, but his name I don't recall. He called Donald or something like that. Yes? So these are meetings. These are the people of today. Erdogan in Turkey. We have Assad in Syria. We have a problem with our mundial leadership, and that's a very important case. This is a child, a fugitive from Syria, who is now in Germany. This is 2 children in the favelas in Brazil. This is a child in China working. This is a child here in Lima, and I took the picture 14 days ago. We have very much children just walking on the street to buy with the small money some food for themselves and for their houses. This is for me not normal. Today I read a scientific article that more than 800 million children are under their weight and are in poverty in the whole world. That's nearly 1 billion. And we are today with 7 billion people on the world. That means that 1 out of 7 has a problem of nutrition, has a problem in poverty. This is not the world I want for my Camilo. And I don't think you want that too. You want another type of world, correct? We want to be happy with all of us. This is a dog in Mumbai. I took the picture when I was in Mumbai. This dog is blue. You know why he is blue? Because we like to wear jeans, and the blue color is made with chemicals, and the chemicals are in the rivers, and the dog is drinking that water, and his skin is becoming blue. That is happening today. This is Venezuela today. Who has seen the YouTube movie when he was eating in a restaurant with his wife in Istanbul? Who has seen that movie? A small movie. It's on all over internet, social media. So today, if you are a bad leader, it will be on social media, and you can copy-paste it to all over the world. I have more than 1,000 friends in Facebook. I have 3,000 friends in LinkedIn. The young people, how many friends do you have on your Facebook? 500. Who has more than 500? No? Yes? Yeah, there are some people who have indeed a lot of friends all over the world. So that is changing today. These are our leaders today, and we have to change this kind of thinking with our leaders. Our companies are structured in a very hierarchical way today. The big bosses, the middle managers, the supervisors, the employees, and then somewhere underneath, the customers. I turn it around. First, our customers. If my customer is happy, then the organization will be happy. And what we see with young organizations, I will show you a video of Zappos. Maybe you know the company Zappos. Who knows the company Zappos? Nobody? Jesus Christ, you have to conquer the world. You have to go out of Lima, travel, go around the world, and then you can see what is happening. Yes, we will talk about that. But we have too much people, management, leaders who are controlling and commanding in a very hierarchical way. The young people, the young millenniums don't want this control and command anymore. I see it happening in Europe, I see it happening in the States, and I see it happening already with young companies also in Lima. Young companies where there is no boss mentality. There is a working together mentality, and that's a different system. In 10 years from now, it will change dramatically. This is a professor in Belgium, and he's writing books about what about the ethics in our company? What are the values in our company? What is the social glue in our companies? I see people working in the morning from 8 or 7 o'clock till 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and then here also you go to universities in the evening from 7 to 10 to have another master degree. Very good, but it's a working system. Where do we create happiness? Are you happy? And that's a very important question, because I see in a lot of companies there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of burnout, and there is a lot of suicides in companies. People are not happy working today all over the world. 70% of people say in their company, we are not happy. We want to change that system. And that's going to be very important. So maybe we have to go back to the time of the apes. No? We fucked it up. So what do we have to do to change our leadership? Let's try to see what is possible. And I told you about the brains, the left brain and the right brain. You know that you have more than 7 intelligence. We are used to work only with our IQ. Yes? The IQ which is there, logic and mathematical. But that is not the only one you need in life tomorrow as a leader. You will need more the soft skills. You will need the intrapersonal, the intra and interpersonal skills. The soft skills will become the hard skills for the leaders of the future. Working together is going to be completely different, and I will show you the results of the World Economic Forum. So like Alice in Wonderland, we are somewhere on the path of we have to change our way of thinking. And that thinking is changing our style of leadership. Listen to Chetty, once again, no sound.
has all the comforts. But actually the one thing that it doesn't...
Sonorización. Hola.
How of our towns was propounded by the Dalai Lama when he said we have rather free roads but narrower views.
We have no sound. I put the micro. Wait, I put him here.
Points. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers. Also, we spend money. We have things we don't need to impress people we don't like. And it's phenomenal how the same technology that brings us close to those who are far away takes us far away from the people that are actually close. 30 billion WhatsApp messages are sent per day, but 48% of people say that they feel lonelier in general. The paradox of our times is that we have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts but less solutions. It was Martin Luther King who said that the irony of our times is that we have guided missiles but misguided men. Have you ever found it perplexing that we've been all the way to the moon and back, but we struggle to start a conversation across the road or across the train? And it's amazing that Bill Gates was known as the top earner in 2015 with a wealth of 79.2 billion, but 1 in 4 CEOs claim to be struggling from depression. Do we actually thrive off this paradox? Is it that this paradox actually makes the media interesting? It's what makes journalism interesting. It's what makes politics interesting. It's what makes television interesting. Is this paradox actually what we feed off and what we live off and what we talk about and discuss in our circles? Doesn't it seem that we've tried to clean the air but polluted our soul? We've split the atom but not our prejudice, and we're aiming for higher incomes but we have lower morals. So I'm here when you ask, how do we bring a change? How do we dissect this paradox that exists in our lives? And it starts by us, each of us, pressing pause, pressing reset and then pressing play again, taking a moment to become more conscious, taking a moment to become more aware, taking a moment to really reflect on the consequence, the implications of a misplaced word, of an unnecessary argument that we all know we didn't need to have, or to speak to someone just slightly differently in a different tone, in a different voice, in a different empathy, with a different perspective, just to really connect with people on a different level. This thinking out loud started from Albert Einstein, and I'll track back to him when he actually said that the problems we have today can't be solved with the same thinking used when we once created them. So actually we need to research alternative teachings. We need to deep down dig into those ancient books of wisdom. We need to go back to understanding if there's anything written in those creased pages of time that can actually reveal more knowledge and more wisdom of how we can transform our experience of life today. Otherwise, this paradox means that every step forward we take, we're taking 3 backwards every time.
So, this is a philosopher. This is the classic school of today in a lot of universities. I can show you that this is not a classroom anymore that we will need for the future. I will show you some examples. Yes, this is the new office of a bank in Europe. When I go to a bank, BCP or BBVA in Lima, there is somebody with guns in front of the door, and when I go inside the bank, I cannot even use my iPhone. This is stupid. And then they say you cannot use your iPhone because it's interrupting the systems. And when you go to the clerk in front of you, he's using his iPhone. So this is an old system that cannot stand anymore. This is a new bank in Europe where people can get money, where people can get friendly people, you can have a coffee, you can have a discussion about the mortgage, about the loan. That is the future of the new companies today. This is the school of the future. This is the way we have to work together because everybody has a laptop. When I was young, I had a backpack full of books, going to school with all the books on my back. Today there are no books anymore in a lot of universities. You just connect with your laptop and you can go home with a small, even with your iPhone. And you can learn whenever you want. You can learn in the weekends because there are some small webinars, and colleagues of me are working all over the world. This morning at 5 o'clock of this morning, I was giving a lecture for Tata Industries. You know Tata? It's like General Electric, it's Mundial. I was working all over the world with 200 managers to explain about teams. I was sitting in my office at home. I had my shirt on. I had my pajama because they couldn't see the other side. I was talking in my camera of my video, and I was talking to people in London, in New York, in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Paris, in Lima, all over the world. For that is the lecture of tomorrow. That is the way you have to learn in the future, and that's going to be very important. 93% of employers care more about critical thinking, creativity, communication, and problem solving. That will be the future that we will need in our studies. Richard Branson from Virgin Company, he said to his CFO, or the CFO said to him, I can't believe we are looking to double our training budget next year. What happens if we train these people and they leave and they go somewhere else? And his answer is, what happens if we don't train them and they stay? It's a very important question. I think we need more to play, to explore, and to learn and to grow. That's what I'm learning to my kid Camilo today. I am learning and playing together with him, but we don't play enough in our universities. We don't play enough and we don't explore enough within our schools. That's why the brains are shrinking more and more, and I will explain that. If you look to the World Economic Forum, what is important for the next years in 2020, it is creativity, emotional intelligence, and complex thinking and cognitive flexibility. You are all learning. The young people, you are learning. Do you learn about soft skills in your faculty? Yes or no? No, you don't. You learn about engineering, about mathematics, about all this kind of thing, which is very good, but you don't learn how to talk to people. You don't learn how to solve conflicts between people. And that is going to be very important in the future. Yes? So we need to change our mentality of only cognitive learning and helping also the young people to learn to get in contact with other people. That's a very important issue for the future. I think it's going to be more and more, and I see it also in Lima. I see small enterprises, pequeñas empresas, con pequeños grupos, small equipes, no hierarchy, no bosses, but we are working together on the same project. That is now happening today. So leaders of the future have to ask them these kind of questions. First of all, who are you? Not your CV will be important, but what about your social skills? What about your interrelation skills? That is going to be very important. Why do you want to be a leader? ¿Qué es importante de estar un manager, un CEO, or a leader in a company? What is importante? The big office, the big car, the big money? That will be terminated, that will be finished. It will be about working together as human beings. You know the FAGI ethics? FAGI stands for Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, Google, and IBM. When I look at the way Facebook is shifting pictures and elements in your Facebook, they are controlling you. Google is controlling us. Amazon is controlling us. Big Brother is watching you. And they are sending you messages that you don't want. A lot of people just delete very quickly all these messages. If you put a very beautiful nude piece of art of Michelangelo on your Facebook, Facebook will say, hey, you cannot put that picture on your Facebook because it's nude. That is a very important issue today. So I think that we need to have more trust and more vision and values between each other. And I will explain which are the values of the future. We have to create touch points between each other. We have to create more and more, not only creating knowledge not only your experience, but you have to start to work also with your heart. It was a big CEO from Campbell Soups. You know Campbell Soups? Yes? You know them? Campbell Soups? He wrote a book which is called Touch Points. You can find it on internet. And he created a complete new company, Campbell Soups, where he said the 3 H's are very important in your life as a leader, as a manager. Work with your brains, work with your head, work with your experience, work with your hands. But most of all, work with your heart. Create connectivity between each other. That is going to be very important in the future. And that's why I bring my brains. I found my brains in Lima. I lost my brains. But now I have found my brains again. And most of the engineers are working with the left brain. Analytical, systematic, science, mathematics, all this kind is in this side. But of course we also will need the right brain, because the right brain will be more important. It's like a big boat with containers. Today I see too many containers on the left side in the boat. What happens with the boat with the containers all on the left side? It will sink. So we need more the right brains. And where are the right brains? The women. The women have more right brains than we have as men. So we need these brains of the women to get the ship back in balance. So please have much more female engineers in your colleges. It's going to be very important, gentlemen. I want to see more female. Yes? That's going to be important. I also bring an onion. You know why? I compare people with onions. And the onion is like this. When it's closed, it's very hard on the outside. Correct? But your inner layers are much more important, and they are the soft skills inside, your values. And your external comportamiento is influenced by what is happening inside. So your soft skills, your values are there. And what happens with a lot of managers, I'm coaching all over the world, and I see a lot of managers where inside it is rotting. That's the difference between an onion and a lemon. A lemon is rotting from the outside. A cebolla is rotting from the inside. And then they ask me, Bruno, can you help us, because this manager is very bad. He's authoritarian. He's controlling. He's like Trump. He's like Erdogan or like Assad, and killing all people, because inside there is a big problem. And when I compare also the young people today, the millenniums, I like to compare with this garlic, because I'm 63 years old, and I have learned to work only every day from 6 o'clock in the morning and coming home at 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And I didn't so much my 2 children. I had a heart attack when I was 59. I was in the hospital, operated, because my heart was not functioning anymore. 1 year ago, I received a stent next to my heart. And I said to myself, why am I working so hard? I want to be happy. And the young people, they are working all together. We old men, we only worked and we're thinking only one part of the garlic. Young people, everything is connected. As a human being, as a lover, as a married man with my children, and that will be the new leadership of the future. We have to take that in account. So I think the global values that I see in my research and from other colleagues in the world, and this is the values that everybody wants in the world, everybody. In China, in India, in Latin America, in Europe, everywhere, in Australia, these are the values you want. Tell me if you don't want to be loved. Tell me if you don't want to be compassion, integrity, trust, justice, family, community, respect, tolerance, responsibility. You want this? Raise your hand. Who wants this? Raise your hand. You don't want it? ¿No es importante? ¿El amor no es importante para usted? ¿Sí o no? Raise your hands. Amor es importante en la vida. El respeto es importante en la vida. La comunidad es importante. Su familia es importante. Sí. And what do I see in companies? I don't see this in companies. It's not enough in companies. We have to love each other more in companies. And not only treat people for the dinero. That period is finished. We are going into a new era where the young people will not accept that anymore. Esta es mi ONG en África. I told you this in the beginning about these raped children. We treat them very well and we try to learn them to trust, to care, to love, to give, to share, to obey, to serve, to listen, and to create happiness between each other. Listen to this movie of a small panaderia in Chorrillos.
Los 7 enanos nacen en año 2008. Trabajamos orgánico, sin químicas, ¿no? Trabajamos solamente con productos peruanos, ¿no? Como trigo, centeno, linaza, ajonjolí, con microempresas acá de Perú, campesinos de Perú. También trabajan con niños especiales. Los 7 enanos trabajan 6 trabajadores, un panadero, un ayudante y ahorita estamos también con un otro panadero de recién está una semana. Y también tenemos 3 pentadoras. Claro, en final todo comenzó acá nuevo. Con mi panadero ahorita también, ya. Yo estoy en la mañana con él, en su lado, trabajamos juntos. Fue un proceso también de casi un año, ¿no? Para él trabaja solo. Tiene una gran motivación para mi trabajador, ¿no? Y para mi panadero también, cuando la gente dice, ya, mira, Jesús, qué bueno es tu trabajo, ¿no? Tengo confianza en ellos, ¿no? Y ellos también aceptan esta forma de trabajo de los 7 enanos. Trabajan correcto, son trabajadores, ayuda a otra la gente, trabajamos con humanidad, tranquilos, ¿no? Hablamos tranquilos, todo tienen respeto a la otra persona. Yo quiero mis cosas hechas con mano y con corazón y este necesitan su tiempo, trabajan con sentimiento, ¿no? Trabajan con total diferente.
Somebody knows this empresa in Chorrillos. I buy my pan over there, but I also buy my pan in Pan de la Chola. Who knows Pan de la Chola? In Miraflores. Hay 3 Pan de la Cholas. La panadería, un pizza y una otra también en San Isidro. All the people are very happy because the boss is working with a very open mind and with a heart on the right place and teaching everybody. Who knows los 7 sopas? You know the 7 sopas? That is a CEO who is teaching his people to learn English for free. They are creating happiness. They are training a lot of their people. Go and have a soup in Los 7 Sopas because it's a very nice place. It's near to my place in Lince where I live. And that's very important that we have to change because the 5 generations in our company have to work together. The old crocodiles, more than 60, 70 years old, you have to work together with the young people. And the young people have to work with the old people. That is going to be needed in the future. And it's not because I am old that I know more than you. I have more experience, but you might know much more in how to go together with people. That is going to be the future. Listen to this guy, Mr. Datos is a billionaire of $800 million living in Los Angeles.
The man you're about to meet is not your average CEO. Tonight, ABC's Rebecca Jarvis gets a look inside his world.
It's 8 a.m. in Las Vegas, and while most of the Strip still sound asleep, downtown, a whole different kind of morning.
I've probably lived 10 places in my entire life, and this is definitely my favorite so far.
We're meeting Tony Hsieh. With nearly $1 billion, he's the 41-year-old CEO of online shoe company Zappos, who owns just 4 pairs of shoes.
Welcome to home.
And his favorite place to live, this 240 square foot trailer.
Refrigerator, there's a shower, bathroom.
Inviting our cameras in exclusively to show us around.
This converts into a bed, that converts into a bed, and this is your workspace.
Yep, the rent was $950 a month.
$950 a month.
Yeah.
So you got a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
You're definitely different than your typical billionaire CEO.
I care a lot more about experiences than stuff.
Introducing us to his neighbors, like his pet alpaca, Marley, and 4 chickens.
So this alpaca just runs free around here.
Yeah.
What do you feed him?
He likes carrots.
An unconventional home for what might just be the world's most unconventional CEO, investing $350 million rebuilding downtown Las Vegas.
$50 million was to invest in small businesses to help create a sense of neighborhood and community and make downtown Vegas more walkable.
And just a few blocks away, Zappos headquarters, where Tony has thrown out the traditional corporate rule book. Gone are the titles, dress code, and corporate hierarchy. Instead, meetings in this Star Wars-themed conference room.
Who does the decorating around here?
We really leave it up to employees.
It's all part of a big push by Tony towards something called a holacracy.
Who's the boss?
You're the boss.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. Essentially removing upper management and letting employees run the show.
Do you ever fight with each other?
No. We love each other. The employees even determine their own salaries.
We have a budget that we are allowed, and there's 8 of us that we determine how our pay would be.
So could this be the model of the future?
You want to come to work. You want to be here even on your day off.
Some say, if the shoe fits. For Nightline, I'm Rebecca Jarvis in New York.
As a billionaire, he owns nearly $1 billion and is living in a small caravan, and he's investing $350 million in the local community to make startups going around. He doesn't want to have a big house. He doesn't want to have an Aston Martin or a Ferrari or a Porsche, because he thinks that is not important. The material life is not important for him. The immaterial life is more important. And he sold his Zappos company for $800 million to Google, but with one condition. The condition is the Zappos philosophy, the Zappos values must be respected, and I remain the CEO. And they accepted. That is for me the new spirit which is going around. So we have to look and work together all in the same way, in the same direction of the future. For me, the leadership of the future is cooperation versus exploitation. Decentralization versus centralization. Sustainable versus fossil. And I think you are in the sustainable engineering. So you can do a lot to change this world instead of taking everything from our Mother Earth, because my mother is the Earth. And there is only one Earth. We don't have 2. Yes, in the galaxy we have more than 35,000 Earths circling around in the galaxy. But we live on this Earth, and we have only one. She is my mother. She is your mother. Local versus global, community versus individuality, custom versus mass production, transformative power versus destructive power, human values versus system values. That is important. That is what I do in companies. I come to companies and I change the cultural way they are working together. I see too many companies where people are dying. Mentally, physically, psychologically, they are dying instead of creating happiness. It's going to be important to know that, because when I show you the demographic situation, young people can choose today where they are going to work. and they will go to work in companies which create happiness. That is the future of our companies worldwide. So let's create this yin-yang in our companies. Let's create this yin-yang in our leadership. And to finalize, please listen to this last.
What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I said, you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you could eventually become a master of it. The only way to become a master of something is to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. Anything you can be interested in, you'll find others. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like and doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing, so it's all wretch and no vomit. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question, what do I desire?
So I think it's important to end my story that you start to make a yin-yang inside yourself, inside other people, with big impressors, with small impressors. And I thank you, and I wish you a very good life. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Estimados participantes, recuerden que el día de hoy están accediendo al libro a tarifa preferencial. En Amazon lo pueden encontrar en 160, 180 soles, el día de hoy a 100 soles. Se están aceptando transferencias bancarias a cuentas BCP y pagos en efectivo. Procederemos con la entrega del reconocimiento por parte del presidente del capítulo de Ingeniería Agrícola, el ingeniero José.
Bueno, vamos a hacer esta entrega de un certificado al primer Congreso Internacional de Ingeniería Geográfica, a nuestro expositor por su brillante exposición, a Bruno Christopher, de Parte de Ingenieros.
Gracias, muchas gracias.
Y un regalito también para que pueda...
Muchas gracias.
No, al contrario.
No, gracias.
Una foto.
Sí.
Y bien, quiero informarles que al final estoy haciendo el sorteo, tengo acá...
Okay, muchísimas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Sus nombres,
gracias.
Así que solamente se entregará aquí.
Muchas gracias.
¿Sí?
Muchas gracias.
Bien, tenemos una conferencia que viene a continuación.
Gracias.